What is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix. 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 And this is going to be your astrology forecast for Thursday, July 13th of 2023. Appreciate you all joining me in this video on this moment. And let's go ahead and hop right into today's forecast to see what we got going on. Well, we do have that moon, which has now, of course, shifted into the sign of Gemini. We'll be getting really close to its balsamic phase once it gets to that third decan of Gemini, leading up to this new moon that we're going to have in Cancer on Monday. But for now, like I said, we have the moon that has just shifted into Gemini today. And it's going to make some interesting aspects. As soon as the moon comes in, it makes a nice little square over to Mars. So, yep, this is sort of like, Mars. I've been saying it's sort of like in the lab card. It's really where you get your reps in on the day-to-day reality, putting one step in front of the other, your daily routine, and really taking like really important action there. This is not just, and with the whole Mars and Virgo thing, it's not just taking action just for the sake of taking action. We really have to ask ourselves, with, of course, the trine to the North Node, which is coming off of that trine, mind you, but we have to really ask ourselves, the steps that we are taking, are they really of value? You know what I'm saying? So, because Mars will become the dispositor of the North Node very, very shortly. Come Sunday, it will actually be dispositing this North Node when the North Node goes into Aries. So that's the really important thing about this, is that we have to make sure that the action that we're taking on a day-to-day reality, we have to make sure is like, are they of value? Is it something that's going to be sustainable, right? So now, of course, with that moon squaring over to Mars, there's definitely going to be this element where, emotionally, we may feel like we're kind of bouncing all over the place, you know what I mean? Trying to figure things out. Gemini definitely likes to figure things out, and Gemini is a very curious kind of energy. And with the square to Mars, which is trying to move things forward in a positive way, but it is still in an earth sign and things may take time and it's not necessarily super exciting. The moon here is going to be wanting to look for some sort of excitement, wanting to kind of stick its hand in the cookie jar and stuff like that. And Mars is like, hold on, wait a minute. It's a process, the cookies. It's like the moon wants to stick its hand in the cookie jar, but it's like Mars is like, hold on, wait a minute. There's not even any cookies in the jar yet. The cookies are still in the oven, and they're baking. And then there's going to be like this aspect where the moon wants is like, well, can I just go ahead and have some? It's like, no, the oven is on. It's hot. You're going to burn yourself. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be this element where it's like, we may want to see reality look a certain way, but it's like, and we want to just sort of like jump the gun almost. And the universe is like, no, hold on, wait a minute, hold your horses. It's all good. Just chill, relax, focus on some other things, right? And I think really why we're doing that is because of this sort of fear that comes up around whether or not we can have the world that we want. Why do I say that? Well, that moon, as it continues to move forward, it will sextile, Black Moon Lilith, and it will sextile Mercury as well. And Mercury is dispositing this moon. You see that Mercury is here at 4 degrees of Leo, and Black Moon Lilith will actually pass Mercury too. Black Moon Lilith moves very fast. I actually did not realize this until just a few days ago, just how fast this energy moves. But, with this sextile over here, it's an opportunity that arises. But like I said with yesterday, we can kind of feel this creepy sensation that any type of fears that are coming up may sort of start to show themselves. But like I said, these are apparitions. These are things that you have already faced. It's like the wake. I don't know how do I describe it. It's not like a true ghost. It's not like a true ghost. It's sort of like just the remnants of the ghost being there. And then that is the part that we may be afraid of. So there can be this element where it's like, well, I'm curious. I want to have all these different things. I kind of want to know these things. I want to have these conversations. I want to move about in my local community. There's these different things that we're wanting. And there's a sort of fear that can arise on whether or not we really can have it. And there's a fear of whether or not if we communicate what's really in our heart and communicate our creativity and our passions and the love that we have, there's a fear that if we communicate this, will it really land with people? Will it really stick with people? These energies are getting close to making the king conks over to Saturn, which is going to be very awkward, of course. Like I said, it's the awkward shade from across the room. So, and I'll just go ahead and move this forward so you can see the exact moment when it happens. Yeah, so we're going to have that moon pretty much. It's around 12:30, so just after noon, just after the noon, and on here on the East Coast, you're going to have that moon at 4 degrees, making that sextile over to Mercury at 4 degrees. So this is going to be an element here too. With 4 being in numerology, it's the number that represents Uranus energy. It's a number that represents Aquarius, and we can see that Uranus is also here at 22 degrees, which comes to a 4 as well. So we get this harmonic of 4 energy, one with the Mercury, one with the moon, and one with Uranus. So right here, there's definitely going to be this element. Here, I want to go back. I want to go to the decans real fast so you can actually see that part. All right. So yeah, there's definitely going to be this element here where we're going to be looking at where exactly we belong, right? So Mercury is going to be wanting to express itself, really communicate the love of these passions. The moon is definitely, being that it's in the decan that's ruled by Mercury, it's definitely wanting to kind of get along on the same page there too, from an emotional standpoint. And then you have Uranus over here, which is like at the highest degree that we've seen since World War II, right? And it's like I said, it's double. It's 2 plus 2, it's 4. It's really important. Like this is going to be more of like a world stage kind of thing. But there's going to be this element where we're looking to like we're really wanting to feel like we belong somewhere today. I'm gonna say that. Like once we get this energy, like I said, it's gonna be around 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. And like I said, these energies with the moon, because the moon moves so fast, it's not necessarily going to last as long. But there's going to be this moment today where we're going to want to feel like we belong somewhere. We're going to want to feel like accepted by other people, if you will. You know what I mean? Because like 4 energy Aquarius, it is about belonging. It is about the collective in many ways. It is also about our uniqueness too. But we want to make sure that if we communicate our uniqueness, are we going to be accepted? Are we going to feel like we belong somewhere? I don't know. A black moon Lilith is kind of creeping up behind us at 3 degrees, effectively 4 degrees because it's so close to it, but it's at 3 degrees. So it's like, do we believe that we can belong even if we communicate? Even if we talk about our passions, our creativity, our love, will we be accepted by other people? There's going to be a fear that's kind of creeping up, whether or not we actually believe we can, in many ways, open our hearts again. Because I think that's what this is coming down to, especially with Venus now at 27 degrees of Leo. This is literally like the final gasp for Venus as far as like reaching out to Mars. It's like she knows that Mars is gone. He's even on the other side of Pallas Athena, right? He's on the other side of the wall. Pallas Athena, Pallas, like she was the one, she guarded, Athens. She was like pretty much like the goddess of Athens. That's why she's called Athena, right? She's also this master strategist and, has like this warlike energy, but it's about kind of like guarding, the city, if you will. It sort of has this element of like boundaries. Mars is on the other side of the wall, right? On the other side of the wall. So like Venus, being that it hits this degree, 2 plus 7 is 9. The reason why I say this is because 2 plus 7 is 9, which is Mars energy, which is all about action. So Venus is going to be like calling up Mars like, hey, yo, hey, do you want to come back? I got some cookies and stuff like that. I got some stuff made for you. I got all dressed up. And Mars is like, nah, I gotta go. I gotta do some stuff. I gotta go forward. I gotta get out, turn into the field. I gotta get out there and make some things happen. And Venus is slowing down. Venus is slow, like slow. So if you are feeling right now that life isn't as glamorous as you want, or shiny, or as beautiful as you want, if you are feeling that way, it's because Venus is moving freaking slow. right? This is a moment where Venus is getting to a point where it's going to start to really we're going to really start to ask ourselves, can we open our hearts again? Can we open our hearts again? And this opening our hearts doesn't necessarily mean that you have to accept that old situation or that ex back into your life, per se. Maybe you patch things up as far as like coming to an understanding, but opening your heart means that you can finally move on and release any type of baggage and weight when it comes to that area. Venus is also going to begin its quincunx over to Neptune, which is awake. Like Venus wants to have this particular dream in Leo, if you will, but Neptune's actually awake. This is like this is like the moment where we're having like that nice dream, and then like literally we like hear something in the outside world that actually wakes us up. Yeah, that's what this is going. That's what's happening here. It's like, say you are. This is like a very random example. But say you're just like in a dream, and you have a beautiful stack of pancakes. A beautiful stack of golden pancakes. Maybe it has a little whipped cream on the top. Maybe it has like a strawberry there. And you're getting ready to eat. And then every single time that you try to eat, the plate moves. And you try and go into that first bite, the plate keeps moving, like on its own. And it's making this weird noise. And then you wake up and you realize that noise is someone, like some construction worker working outside. Like that's what this moment is right here with Venus quincunxing Neptune. That's what it's going to feel like. It's going to feel like almost like we're trying to get something great, and then it's kind of like ripped out from under us, and then we're like, oh crap. The cool thing about this is though, is that like there's this fear, like I said, that something's going to be ripped out from under us. Like I said, a lot of, as far as the fear aspect of the Leo energy, and even some of the Cancer energy too, we've already faced it, right? We got to understand that Black Moon Lilith, it retrograded in Leo and went back into Cancer. Not only that, but it retrograded over the point that the Sun will oppose Pluto right before the Lion's Gate, which is really, really important because we will never see in our lifetime the Sun in Cancer oppose Pluto in Capricorn. We'll never see that again because the next time that the Sun comes over here, Pluto will be in Aquarius, and that's it. Pluto will retrograde back into Capricorn after it happens. After the Sun moves into Leo, then Pluto will move into Capricorn. So there's like this interesting dance that's happening right there where we have already, in many ways, faced the fears and apparitions of the higher echelons of society and how it's being transformed forever. We all have already gone through it. Now it's about the revelation period, if you will, and just sort of like the aftermath of it. Like I said, the we are in the flashback, if you will, or the time skip. This is more of a time skip, yeah, where there's like this, like say you have like these events. There's like a 3-year time skip, and then another story begins. Like we are in the period of the time skip, and there are a lot of flashbacks within this time skip, of course, of like going back to figure out what happened over the last 3 years. That's literally what we are in right now, right? So as you continue to move the day forward, you'll see that that moon will make the square over to Saturn as well. It's around 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we had, and then now Mars has moved to 2 degrees, and it's getting ready to make its oppositions over the next over like its transit throughout Virgo. It will make its opposition to Saturn. It will make its opposition to Neptune as well. Getting ready for those energies. But we're going to have this moon here at 6 degrees of Gemini, making the square over to Saturn at 6 degrees of Pisces. This energy right here, being that it's 6 degrees, it's in the decan ruled by Mercury. Mercury is over here in Leo at 5 degrees, moving very fast, mind you. Mercury is getting ready to make the quincunx to Saturn as well. And then, of course, we have Saturn in the decan ruled by Neptune, which Neptune is dealing with this whole Venus energy, right? As far as that quincunx goes. A lot of awkward energy right? A lot of awkward energy. And most of the squaring energy that is caused by a planet that moves very fast. So that right there alone lets me know that the challenges that come up today, they're just sort of like, they kind of come up. They're like little quick moments. That's kind of how this energy has been just in general. They're like little quick moments that just come up here and there, things that you just have to deal with as they come up. But the awkwardness of life is where the most of the challenges are. The awkwardness of how things feel, where it's like there's a moment where we feel like, you know, things seem like they're moving forward but backwards at the same time. It's almost like two steps forward, one and a half step back, or a half step back. It's very awkward. It's an awkward walk, if you will, which can and we're trying to find our rhythm in this too. I think that's the other part about this. Like, we're trying to find our rhythm in this awkward world because we are moving into this new age of Aquarius. I believe that we technically are already there, um, but we're not really going to fully move into it, I believe, until, honestly, if I'm being truthful, it we probably won't fully move into it until Pluto is completely done with the Aquarius transit. So we got another 20 something years for that, right? It's going to stay in Aquarius for 20 years. The reason why I say it's going to come afterwards is because Pluto has to transform the current Aquarius energy that we all experience. So that's the reason why I say that. So we are still in this weird, awkward moment where we got like this little taste of Aquarius. We got this little taste of this new world, this new paradigm, but we still have to kind of go back and figure out the old stuff. You know what I'm saying? So this moon squaring Saturn, like I said, the moon is it's still wanting to reach into the cookie jar. I think at this point, the cookies are probably done, if you will. And is like wanting to reach in, but Saturn's like, no, like you can't have the cookies yet. Why not? Well, there's a timing for that. And it's interesting too because Saturn is retrograde. So, she's offline, right? So, there's still this element I'm feeling that's like, it's still not ready to have the cookies. But why? They're out of the oven, they're done. Well, they gotta cool off a little bit. They still gotta cool off a little bit. It's like, that's the thing about it. There's if we kind of go for that cookie, it may be like super super gooey, super super chocolatey, which maybe we want that, but you might still burn your tongue. And then that's the thing about this. All right, do you want to burn your tongue today, trying to taste something that is not quite there yet? It's not quite ready yet. We just gotta kind of calm down, chill out, hit the brakes a little bit, and allow the process to unfold. We have to allow things to happen, if you will. So, and then, as you continue to move that moon forward, it doesn't really make a whole lot of aspects after that. It gets of course, closer to that balsamic phase. So by like, say, like 9:30, we're gonna have that moon here at 9 degrees. Coming off of the square to Saturn. Of course, we have Venus at 27:08, 27:38. So that quincunx is becoming a lot of it. It's becoming tighter. We have Black Moon Lilith, which is going to meet up with Mercury at 5 degrees. So there's definitely going to be this element come the end of the day where it's like this is when some fears may really start to come up in like our mind and stuff like that when it comes to how we express ourselves, express our creativity, express our just the way that we shine and we radiate love. There's going to be some things that kind of come up from that. So if you feel like your thoughts may be kind of like bouncing all over the place at this point, especially with a moon in Gemini, where our emotions are really going to be tied to our peripherals, definitely kind of pay attention to your surroundings today, just in general, because like your emotions are going to be really kind of tied to that energy. So, when you come home at the end of the day, especially with the sun in Cancer, which has been very stressed, this sun in Cancer has been very stressed out. It's coming off, of course, the square to Chiron, and it's building up to this whole opposition with Pluto. Next year, when the sun goes into Cancer, it won't be nearly as stressful as this one. It really won't be. But this one, like I said, And in yesterday's video, we as humanity are still really trying to figure out the whole Cancer energy as a whole. Aries, Taurus, we get. Gemini, we kind of get it, but we're still working on that one. Cancer, we definitely don't get it. We definitely don't get Cancer. We definitely don't get Cancer energy as a whole, So there's going to be this element where I feel like, once you come home for the day, make sure that, everything is like solid, make sure that, that it'll be a good time for a little bit of self-care, light some candles, kind of make things relaxing. Don't try not to overthink anything, just have like a relaxing evening. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily have to try and figure out a whole bunch of stuff, pop on some Netflix, do something nice, make yourself a nice dinner, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of take a little bit of take kind of like the self-care kind of aspect too. Because like I said, with this conjunction that's going to be happening here, and it's in the decan ruled by the sun, and the sun's over here just like really trying to like get through this moment. You know what I mean? It's very emotional right now. Just in general, and especially once the moon gets to Cancer, yeah, it's going to even be more emotional. So that's the thing about this. The moon is dispositing the sun at the moment, and it's in Gemini, and the decan ruled by Mercury. And this Mercury is going to be on top of Black Moon Lilith. That's why I said like tonight you might really want to have some self care because there's going to be this element where it's like, don't be too hard on yourself, beloved. If life does not look exactly the way that you want, because that's going to be the case for all of us. It's really the case for all of us that life doesn't look exactly the way that we want. But B, also realize that, shoot, you know what? Maybe by this time, the cookies are actually ready. You know what I'm saying? The cookies are actually ready, and you can have that cookie, you can eat it, and it's going to be amazing. It's like, but there's gonna be moments throughout the day where it's like you're gonna want to like eat the batter. It's like it's not even formed yet, and then you're gonna want to put your hand in the oven, and you're gonna put your hand in the cookie jar, and it's gonna kind of go throughout the whole day where there's like this serious element of patience, where we want this cookie, if you will, but we have to get the ingredients, we have to make the cookie, we have to bake the cookie, and then we have to let them cool off. And that's kind of how life is in general, right? By this time, though, I do feel like we can finally have that cookie. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that there was going to be a whole cookie analogy for this whole astrology forecast, but that's just what came up. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into the cards for the day and see what we got going on. All right. See what cards we have for today, Thursday, July 13th. Okay. Yep. I already told you we had the Eight of Wands here. Yeah, you're definitely wanting to just like move things forward and kind of just act and go for things, right? But then you got the Ten of Wands in reverse. It's like, yeah, man, like bottom of the deck, we have the Strength card in reverse. So yeah, maybe you're not feeling as strong right now. Maybe that's why with this whole Ten of Wands thing, you're feeling like you're kind of dropping them. It was reversed, but he's almost the interesting thing about this depiction of it is that the wands are all around him, and he almost feels trapped by the work that he has to do because he still has to carry these wands. He still has to carry these sticks back home, and there's gonna be this element where it's like we want to just take some sort of action and move forward anyways, no matter what. Like there's definitely gonna be this element today where you want to cut corners, but do not cut corners today. There's going to be this element where you want to cut corners, but you have to have the strength to not cut corners. Now, with the being reversed, the Strength card is saying that, like, you know what? There's the propensity to cut corners today is going to be strong. We're going to. It's almost sort of like almost even before you even begin making those cookies, you don't even have all the right ingredients. And then you're going to be like, well, I can make do with what I got. And it's like, well, no, it's like you can actually go out and go and buy those right ingredients and stuff like that too. You know what I mean? I think there's an element where this is balancing act of making do with what we have, but also being willing to kind of go and get what we need. I think that's the whole thing about that. So we have to have the strength to go get what we need. When we also have to have the strength to know that while things are moving forward in a pretty fast way, and we can feel like rapid development stuff, we don't have to feel trapped by the work that we have to do. We have to be able to take it in manageable steps. So, say for example, right? Say you want to write a book, you can get trapped by the whole idea of writing a book because it's a long process, but take it in manageable steps. And if you take it in manageable steps and break down the whole, I want to write a book, and let's just say it takes 100 steps, right? We can be so just focused on the 100 steps and the whole process of it. We can be so focused on that and just be sort of like just looking at it and all is like, how in the world am I going to do this? And you have to just like almost bring your vision down a little bit, like kind of almost have like a little tunnel vision, if you will. We have to have the big vision, but we also have to, be a little tunnel vision and be a little focused and have that laser focus. And like, okay, right? Because the cool thing about this card too is that they almost kind of look like lasers. He's doing like some karate, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, instead of focusing on the big thing, we can have these big visions, right? Focus on those little manageable steps. And we focus on those little manageable steps. By the time you know it, you will get to your destination. Let's see what the oracle card is for today. All right. We have joy and delight. Open your heart to joy. This is open your heart to joy. In the words of Chris Wozecki, open your heart to serious joy, right? This is definitely going to be a thing today where, you know, we can definitely have the life that we want. It may not look exactly like the way that we want, but we can still have that life, and it'll probably turn out even better than the way that we initially conceive it at this moment. But this whole Venus retrograde that we're about to experience and all these energies in Leo, we are really experiencing things like, how do we open our hearts again? So I think a lot of people have their hearts that are closed off, you know, especially with the South Node in Scorpio too, which is all about these boundaries and these different things. It's like a lot of people felt closed off, but the South Node was actually teaching us to actually open up again, believe it or not, especially with that North Node in Taurus was saying like, well, you got to find what's worth it and what's valuable and stuff. And the South Node here is saying that like, definitely be wary and careful of your energetic investments, but also you don't necessarily have to be completely closed off either, but we still have to kind of go back and learn like, okay, you know, address the things that happened in the past, address how our heart might have closed up in the past. But we have to have the strength to open ourselves up again because that is where life is. When we open our hearts up to the beauty of life, and then we really start to manifest from that place, and we feel the joy again. That's the other thing about Venus retrograding here is that this is going to be an element to help us all to feel like a kid again. And that, shoot, like when a kid falls down, they get generally you get back up and just keep going, you know. But when an adult falls down, it's like, man, we ruminate on it, we get hard on ourselves, we like get distraught over it. It's gonna be this element. It's like, oh, just open your heart to joy today. Realize that yes, things can move forward. You can have those cookies. Yes, there is a good amount of work ahead, but you have the strength to do it. Even if you feel like you don't have the strength right now to move forward, you absolutely do have the strength to move forward. So that's going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you'd like a personal reading with me, you can follow the link in the description below to jphoenix.com. Yesterday I said my old website, so it's jphoenix.com. And I will see you guys on the Friday astrology forecast. Y'all take care. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all later. Peace out. Sayonara. Ah.